Let us talk Indian. They taught us to talk English. If somebody start talking, shh, you know what you're learning? You're learning in English. All kids will be talking Indian when little kids. It was kind of hard. Well, I didn't even know anything about English. Taught me to talk English, but still we talk our own language. So, I am in my school, boarding school.
For our own protection, they didn't pass on that culture. They see and realize now they wish they would have. Like I said, my father was very, very fluent speaker. Whenever someone came from Red Lake to visit at our house in the cities, my father was just in his glory because he knew he had somebody he could sit and talk with, and they would sit and talk for hours and hours and laugh, all in Ojibwe. But when it come down to teaching his kids, he feared that because of what he went through and what my grandmother went through and what my great-great-grandmother and grandfathers went through, the punishment of taking that away from us and replacing it with something that isn't ours, and that would be another culture and another religion.
One of the most important things is the language. When you lose your language, you're losing a great part of your tribal identity. You're merely an Indian person, but you're not a specific like Ojibwe, Dakota, or anything if you don't retain your language.
I taught my children Chippewa, and they all know how to talk Chippewa.
And your grandchildren?
My grandchildren, some of them are starting to talk. They understand, but there's one boy, my son, don't understand anything.
Oh no.
When I talk Chippewa to him, he said, "Mom, why do you always talk like that to me?" He said, he doesn't understand anything.
In order to understand the heart of our culture, that the language is necessary. And if we're not about the business of learning the language, there's a lot that you can't interpret in English that is from the language, the native tongue of our people.
Well, I know a lot of the elders that I currently do speak with for advice and stuff are all anxious, more than anxious, and have been coming into the school. They see culture and language as something very, very important in order for us to sustain our own identity and culture. Right now, we're in our first year immersion program with Vivian Stately. Being a pilot program, we did anticipate some problems with the language, full immersion, and we did encounter some problems. We have that we're working on. Elementary level, we have Pat Hardy doing language. Middle school, I believe we don't have anybody, something we need to work on. And the high school is very limited.
The biggest change I've seen is moving from the initial phases where the students did was to identify words, like this is a house, Ojibwe, Wakaigan, that type of thing. Then moving into smaller sentences, everyday type sentences. And now it's grown into where the whole language concept of learning is the main focus of teaching the Indian children at Panema Elementary, and that's a big jump from where it was before.
Our traditions are the bond which holds our language, our ceremonies, our land, in the wisdom of our elders in harmony. We as a seventh generation must embrace our traditions and keep the essence of which it holds strong, able to withstand a test of time for yet another 7 generations.
You take Panima itself, the language is a traditional, because we all speak the language. We practice this Indian religion. Never died. Then all the ceremonies, drum ceremonies, naming ceremonies, and lake ceremonies, all kinds of ceremony that goes with the traditions. That's practice here in Panima. And when you talk about tradition, sugar making, traditional sugar making, and wall rising, all that. That's part of your traditions. We have a yearly traditional gathering at the high school. Usually the teachers they use that for a workshop to attend. But the community is invited to come. Even the students are invited to come to hear out these elderly people that's making these presentations.
I hope some of the younger people would take their time and learn how to do this. And I would be willing, if some of the younger people are willing to learn, I would be willing to show them or teach them.
This is my personal flute. And that's kind of what some of them sound like.
Is there any legend or story about how or why flutes were created by the Great Spirit?
There's different places have different legends. Different flutes were brought by different people or things. That the legend that I heard was for ours was a long time ago. The first man and the first woman were on the earth. And the first man wanted to give the first woman something special. And he didn't know what to give her, but he'd heard this sound come across the wind. And he couldn't figure out what the sound was, so he took off walking. And as he was walking, he walked for a couple days, and finally he stopped, and a woodpecker asked him what was the matter. And he told the woodpecker he heard this sound, and the woodpecker said, "Oh, I can show you what makes this sound." So he followed the woodpecker, and they came to a tree. And on the tree it had a broken branch, and the branch was hollow inside. And as the wind blew over this broken branch, it made a sound or tone. And the woodpecker said, "Well, I can show you how to fix this so that you can do this." And so